the prediction about what is going to happen in AI in the coming months. So very, very difficult panel. I think Ron, from theory, kind of switched panels. So we addressed a bit the subject just before, but it's better you're going to have more space. Can you guys intro yourself, your project, and then I will spin a few questions.
Right, my name is Ming. I'm the co-founder of LazAI, which we do point of view data with Web3.
Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Joyce, and I do product at CrossMint. I used to be a founder with my own on-chain AI agent company, and it's great to be here today.
Thank you.
Hi again, my name is Bourjois. I'm working with Nosana. We are a GPU marketplace on Solana, and we do it for mostly AI inference. So I'm taking care of the partnerships and business development, and I'm happy to be here.
Hey, hi guys. My name is Sharvil. I head BD for CapX. We're an L2 for AI agents. And it's nice to see you guys still up for the last panel. So nice to have you.
Thank you, mate.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dean, and I'm the co-founder of Tensorblock. And actually, we are working on a decentralized AI infrastructure that support our kind of model hosting and inference. So, yeah.
David Post, I'm the co-founder of W3.io. We're the industry's first prodigy protocol. What does that mean? It means you can finally put complex computations into smart contracts in a systematic fashion.
Ooh, nice. All right, I want to jump right into it. What is your prediction for the most unexpected breakthrough in 2025? What do you see coming in the field?
I'm really hoping that, especially on the deep inside, that people will figure out how to source real-world revenue that will make decentralized protocols competitive with centralized alternatives. So a much better focus on business as a product. You have to do token as a product, but businesses, this is the year, hopefully, of the initial inklings here of business as a product.
And from the AI front?
I think that it's going to be the projects. There will be projects that emerge that not only do on-chain AI, but they do better AI through the combination of decentralized resources.
Nice.
Yeah,
and you can go broad if you want to talk about general AI, if you want to go into AI agent, if you want to mention AGI, that's even a possibility. Feel free, guys.
Yeah, so I would say on our perspective, we are looking at the open source community for a while. That we are taking a huge demand from the open source community. That we find that there already have 1.4 million models already on Hugging Face, but there's no a very good mainstream AI platform can well support this kind of model. So yeah, that is why we built in Tensorblock that we want to support every kind of model hosting in the inference. So yeah.
Nice.
Our general thesis is that, so right now, the current state of AI or AI agents, if I was to be very specific, right? It's agents working for humans, right? And how I see that growing is eventually we're going to come to a point where humans will also be working for agents, right? And there's a path there, right? When you look at billion-dollar companies, right, there are three aspects to it. One is the labor part of things, the second is execution, and the third is capital, right? We're going to move to a situation where you don't need a team of 500 people to build a billion-dollar company, right? You can do that whether it's just you or your team of 2 people, right? And that's how I feel the agentic space and just billion-dollar companies growing forward, right? Today morning, I was just talking about CapX at some other event, and there was this interesting thing that I mentioned. There's this YouTube video. There was a Sam Altman interview with the co-founder of Reddit, right? And Sam says that there's a group chat which is filled with all these SF tech founders, and they're betting on which year will we see the first billion-dollar company, right? Single person billion-dollar company, my bad. And that is only because AI agents are already, but they will become more and more powerful, that you can automate a lot of these pipelines, whether it's labor, whether it's execution. Execution we're already seeing, right? I don't need to be a professional coder today to build an app, right? I don't need to go to Stanford for a CS undergrad, right, to know how to code or to just ship it, right? So we're already there. Now in terms of execution and labor, right, that's where agents will grow more and more powerful. I can go deeper into this, but yeah, that's the gist of it.
Thanks, mate.
That's a good take, actually. Especially, for instance, for DeFi, I can see now more and more people they don't know anything about DeFi or finance, but they will be like, hey, I want to be exposed to that level of risk, and with my risk profile, I want to generate this amount of money or whatever, and they just put money in a system, and then the AI agent will act like a portfolio manager, for instance. But my take for this year is more related to his take. I think that there will be more deep in projects that will generate revenue in a sustainable way. In the case we are in a compute, and usually people they really oppose decentralized and centralized. But what I do believe is now we are proving that decentralized solutions are working, and that they can be an alternative to centralized solutions, but not in an extreme way, which means that a company, an AI company, can still use for 80% a centralized solution, but then for 20% they can start using a decentralized solutions. And because there are pros and cons for both, and I think that right now we start getting at a stage where the two are complementary, which means that maybe the decentralized solution are not as reliable and as performant as a centralized solution, but at least you don't suffer the corporate censorship. So if you are doing research, if you are doing you are a small startup with less resources, that's something that you will definitely go for. And if you are more like a bank or more established and so on, then obviously your data need to be protected. You have more requirement, you have more legislation. So obviously you will stick to the centralized solutions, but I do believe that even the more established companies, they will start using more and more decentralized solutions for research purposes, and just to see to weigh the different options, I would say. So that's my take, and that will bring revenue to decentralized projects and so on.
Thanks.
So I'm personally very excited for multi-agent systems, and that's because the work that we do at Crossman, everything that we do is in preparation for multi-agent systems to come aboard. So we have wallets, we have Goat, we help agents go on chain, but currently, we see single agents trying to do everything, and it's just tools calling if-else statements. But we have more complex tasks. And we're seeing this in Web 2 already, where different agents can come together and actually build, for example, a whole company on its own. We're not seeing that in Web 3 yet. We're seeing a lot of people saying that they're building agent swarms. That's not true. Those are not swarms. And I am just very excited for that to start happening the next 2 to 3 months, probably.
Yeah, it's my third year here at East Denver, and I see gathering of idealist devs that are with good hearts to build stuff that matters to people. But outside of our own bubble, people just see us as a sinking meme rug industry, and bad things is to keep happening around us. Just a couple of weeks ago, Alex Trantowitz from CNBC was saying. Crypto needs a DeepSeek moment, and I kind of agree. And I think actually DeepSeek is the DeepSeek moment for crypto as well, because the stuff we do, like decentralization, like privacy, is kind of like a proof, a negative proof, right? Proof something doesn't happen is actually a lot harder, and also it's probably something very important every low frequency. So that's why I know people are talking about, everyone says they need privacy. But if you want them to pay for something because they don't encounter it every day, yeah, it's difficult to persuade people to pay for privacy, right? You see all these privacy coins not really going anywhere, not because of regulation, because it's a low frequency event. And I see that, it's time for us to venture into this, new space. I would call 50 shades of privacy and public applications that not being really discussed outside of our Web3 space. So here at LazAI, I want to enable something like that. We call it point of view data, because we don't see data as static, but as dynamic. And also with community, you have a different mix of privacy and public data, and that mix of maybe 10,000 shades of privacy and public will enable a use case blossom that's go beyond just low frequency privacy needs. So that's something we're building, and I think that could be the Web3 AI deep seek moment for our space. And AI agents is very exciting, and it's the right glue to enable all this. And I'm very excited for our own deep seek movement, or for our own crypto Web3 space.
Thank you. That's very interesting. I think that's a good take. Depin being the DeepSeek moment, right? Yes. Of crypto. I want to ask, of Depin, but of crypto as well, because I think Depin has a lot of momentum. I want to ask you a question about how agent-to-agent relationship are evolving in 2025. And maybe Joyce, you want to answer that question since you work on that kind of things. Can you give us some insight on this?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I haven't really seen a lot of. I think a lot of people are trying to define what an agentic protocol would be like, and we have a lot of teams doing a good work. CapX is trying to do something very, very cool here.
Moment, right? Yes. Of crypto. I want to ask.
Well, use LangChain, I only use ELIZA. When you have agents that are built so differently, and when they all run on like different chains, it's just very difficult for like a party to come in and be like, hey, it doesn't matter if you're on EVM or Solana or Movement or whatever, we can all start, well, most basic thing, right? Start sending funds to each other. How are you even gonna do that? Like, that's the one thing that's the first thing we have to solve first. At Goat, we're trying to kind of solve that a little bit. Like, we try our best, but it's still so kind of like fractionalized, and everyone's trying to build their own thing for their own agenda. And I think, I think if there's any future that I'm predicting that someone's going to come in and kind of define the standard for a protocol that everyone kind of runs on. But I don't know how early that's going to happen. But I do hope that it happens like this year.
Thanks. I think you wanted to react.
There are like two people that want to add something
David.
here and here.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, so here's what you're basically looking at. So I was part of a lot of the failed enterprise blockchain networks when I was at IBM. And the reason why they failed is because everyone has their own ERP system, right? Everyone has their own ability of doing things. It's slightly different. So the processes with one agent are different from the processes with another agent. Those processes are likely to remain different. The way that you can have them communicate with each other is by having basically trustless computations around outcomes that people plug into. So if there was if you basically need 4 different computational resources to do an agent-to-agent financial transaction, you might need cross-chain messaging, you might need indexing, you might need some type of security framework to block malicious transactions. You can combine these computations in a way that allows agents to just plug in on either side while maintaining whatever framework they want to. So when we talk about making blockchain smarter and making agents smarter, the way we think about it is you essentially have to have verifiable workflows that different agents can plug into. That allows an off-chain mechanism for communication that can then ultimately be settled on-chain. So we have a business process standardization problem. It's not a development framework problem. It's how do you have people riding the common rails in a trustless and verifiable way. The only way you can do that is by combining computations into workflows.
You wanted to add something as well?
Yeah, so I agree with you on how the workflow as part of this will get solved, right? Adding a business lens to this is how we can understand this better is like agent-to-agent coordination. Why do you need it in the first place, right? Let's say that let's take the example of this event. If it was the responsibility of just one person to set up the chairs, invite all the guests, manage all the workflow, the entire everything, right? One particular person is not going to be sufficient enough to handle all the tasks. But now let's say when you divide it with different agents, with different teams, right? Now they can coordinate different actions themselves and then bring a better result, right? When I look at this from a business perspective or from a business lens, this also, it becomes interesting because general purpose agents, right? Like for example, ChatGPT or Gemini, right? Instead of these agents, I feel the verticalized SaaS agents sector is going to boom a lot, right? Because when you verticalize it from a lens of different sectors, right, like finance, healthcare, there are going to be different agents who will be suited to pick up those particular tasks, right? So once that starts to happen, you'll probably have like sector specific like industry standards come out. For example, if there are like hospital agents, right, you probably have like this particular stack. For finance, for banks, you have like this particular stack, right? So that is something how I feel this would like go on.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Let me add my 2 cents. So I was also involved in projects building zero knowledge proof, which is a kind of mature technology for space. People are building on it for years, and it's finally reaching a point of quite usable. And as I think of this with AI agents, is that AI agents, they don't forget, and whatever you send to it, it just it's just there, right? So people would have a concern that it's buried there, and somehow other people can just dig it out. So I think the standard would be that there's a separation from tools to agents. The agents, they have like a long context window, and you don't really worry about that. How long it will be, because none of the private input, private data would pollute that space. And it will be contained inside the tools part. So we have this clear separation. And, I think that's something the industry can sort of build a standard and a protocol around, instead of just mixing everything together. And also, I see this year as the modular AI is going to be very going to proliferate, because now we have these very capable small models. We can have with like test time computed, we can have models agents very capable of doing everything, all the stage. Training, you can do fine tuning, training, reinforcement learning on all three, like training, inference, and your data part. So this we need to come to a agreement or consensus of building that privacy and public boundary in the ecosystem. That so we have a good product quality all around.
And from Nosana, what's the challenge on the compute side? Concretely, since you're inside.
That's a good question. I would say the biggest challenge, obviously, are the centralized options, I would say. Because when an AI project or AI agents they need compute and so on, they will first tend to go for centralized solutions, because these solutions are reliable, they give free credits and so on. So, like, I would say the biggest challenge right now is really to make sure that they know that we can support them, on the integration as well. We made sure that the integration is seamless. We made sure that we cost efficient, which means that while people are building different AI agents, or people are trying to find a standard for all the AI agents so they can leverage everything that has been done, we try to make sure that we have the team that first understand the AI challenges, and the team that can go to the trenches with them and make sure that in terms of compute we provide them with the best solution and the best I would say solutions.
Yeah, like I can give like some context here. So I would say, like, on our perspective, I think the future of AI should be very diverse. Because, like, for example, that if I'm a doctor, like I think that like nobody's gonna have the like deeper understanding than me, like on the like which kind of models that I need, right? So we think the future of AI should be like have a lot of the very diverse model, and this kind of models like may not be like large model. They may like small and large language model. So for example, that like if I'm the doctor that like I definitely can like doing the fine tuning on this kind of base model like Mistral or Llama, just like based on my own data set, and to get a best model like to best feed my own task, right? So when that times, we're gonna see that like really have a lot of the models all over the world. But today's mainstream AI platform like Fireworks or even like the Geyser AI, this kind of platform, they cannot like support that much model, because like their business, like their business cannot like support them, like because the single consumer GPUs for the devices, they get a like pretty limit VRAM, so they cannot like support that much model. So we think that would be a like very good approach that like we using the consumer GPU like all over the world into running that much model. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've seen an insane amount of projects that came to us, and they were like for instance, a couple of months ago, we need H100s to do this. And as you rightly mentioned, like we were like, okay, what model are you gonna run? What are you gonna do? And then we have done a lot of benchmarking. We have like AI engineer in our team. They made a lot of research. We have also a very technical team. So even David is here. And then we realized that but if you use like 4090, you can have like the same performance, and it will cost you like it will be way cheaper. And as well, you will be able to leverage like a like all the consumer GPUs from gamers, or just people in their room from all over the world. So it is great because they will also be able to leverage a community. So like people realize that they will be able like to win on so different avenues than just like going to AWS and just enjoy the free credits. And also you save your free credits. So it's not only like black or white, it can be great. But then coming back as well to one of your questions, like I would say another challenge can be like, for instance, I would say the privacy, the data, making sure that it is run in a trust execution environment. This is like actually like a real challenge. And also the regulations, because you want to make sure that as well that the people running your AI inference are not necessarily like based in North Korea or like in a questionable place. So those are like the challenges that the team is actively working on, because that's something that can slow down our growth. But apart from that, especially for AI agents, we really have like the shoulders, the knowledge, the expertise, the team ready to support anything that is currently built. And also we have like a great community that have so many GPUs like sitting at home. So yeah, and we make sure as well to select the best ones as well. So we have we monitor the way they perform. We monitor everything. We have like clear dashboard. So in that sense, yeah, I completely agree with what has been said.
Thank you, guys. And for the last question of the panel, I want to get back to the fundamental and how blockchain is going to be integrated with AI for the coming year. Maybe Dean, you can start with that.
I mean, I think you can't argue that there is some level of product market fit with agents on chain. So, and I think that there are reasons to do that, because if you want complex agent-to-agent communication, you have to have some degree of verifiability. That's the only way anyone can trust it. The benefits. I'm not supposed to say this, but I will. People don't like hearing about enterprise terms, but it needs to be better to operate on chain than operating off chain. That's the only reason why anyone would rationally run a business process running on chain. Efficiency is a major reason for that. So, I think that. The two ways that this will manifest, I think on the agent side, I agree this is going to continue to advance. I do think that there is something interesting about the verifiability of different workloads that go into an AI, like different inputs that go into an AI agent workload. So I do think that's going to be, I think it's difficult to win in the market if you're not full stack. So I'm hoping what will happen this year is there'll be cooperation among folks, different parts of the stack that make 1 + 1 = 3.
Nice. Someone want to add something on that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I think touching on the same analogy that I did earlier, right? Like to build a new enterprise right now, you need three things: labor, execution, and capital, right? And crypto has always been the kingmaker when it comes to capital formation, and that's exactly where like blockchain and AI will intersect, right? That's exactly what we're doing at CapX as well. If you're building an AI agent and you need capital formation opportunities, right? That's where we're headed.
Yeah, I think this is a kind of auspicious moment because Ethereum, right? We're here, East Denver. Ethereum has built this massive infrastructure, like technology infrastructure, like try to solve a lot of problems at the beginning, from the beginning of our blockchain era, right? This scalability and it just the verifiable computing. I think this is a year for a kind of convergence for that. The problem of scaling is mostly solved with rollups. Ease, if you check Ease proof that, zero knowledge proof is very usable today, and this is like a time for building out the real Web3 ecosystem. We need all that like performant, massive like compute and storage applications that layer one, blockchain just can't handle. But blockchain is good for one thing. Layer one I was referring to is for consensus proof. So now we can have this paradigm to build out the ecosystem like proof and verification. So yeah, layer one just do verification, consensus, and layer two roll up and beyond. We can do all this AI computing, zero knowledge proof. By example of that, like Goat network, that the project I'm affiliated with, we can bring that capability to even Bitcoin, right? We can verify stuff like AI computation natively on Bitcoin, right? That's the thing that Ethereum community development technology company has been building for the past years. Kind of, I know Ethereum is a little bit down, but it's time for the convergence and the proof that the developers are working for the past few years. So we're actually the builders, not the scammers and all that. So yeah, I'm very, I think it's pretty rosy of the prospect of the convergence, AI and blockchain.
All right. Thank you so much. Do you want to add that as well, Bourjois?
Yeah, I think with lately with DeepSeek, I also think that we have seen that how the blockchain can be valuable with AI, and there are projects like Venice AI and so on that are doing great stuff. So yeah, pretty bullish regarding that aspect. I think it can help to mitigate the costs, to leverage obviously the community so people can contribute to models. We can do verification on chain, all these type of things. So those are like stuff that make me excited, I would say, and that will definitely think that the blockchain and Web3 can help like AI to reach another level.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Give a round of applause to the speakers, please. And this is actually closing our day. We had a lot of panels today. Thank you so much for coming. You can hang out in the venue for a couple more hours. Feel free. And